right, so before we get...
Take a bite first.
I will.
You won't be nervous.
I'm not nervous about it. I'm trying to remember what I'm gonna say. This is buttered chicken.
Yeah.
Is it still hummus? Or just buttered chicken? It honestly tastes like Thanksgiving. And I know it's not a soup, but like I feel like I would drink it. Welcome to Living in Raleigh.
I'm Davis Holt.
I'm Whitney Greenway.
And we're here to help you
Find your place
in the triangle. We're here at Seaboard Station, and I'm excited. We're checking out a really cool place today.
Yeah, it's a brand new Indian cafe called Ammi.
We're gonna be having an exciting talk, well, as exciting as it can be, about the real estate market in Raleigh, what's going on, and what we can expect going into the end of the year.
I've got a lot of questions for you.
Let's go answer them.
All right, this looks amazing.
Yeah, super cool.
So we are in like mid to late September right now. There's been a lot of fluctuations with the market, interest rates. Kind of give us some scoop on what's been going on.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of talk about what's going on in the market, what's going on with interest rates, where is that gonna go? And in mid-September here, we've already seen big movements down in interest rates. And a lot of people think that's tied to the Fed. And I know you might have some questions about that.
Definitely, yeah. So one of the questions that I have, which sounds probably a little bit silly, but with the interest rates, does that always directly correlate with the mortgage rates? Like if interest rates are going down, is it a given that the mortgage rates are gonna go down?
So that's a question I get all the time. And the short answer is no.
Okay.
So actually what the Fed does not affect necessarily like one-to-one what happens with mortgage rates. This market already knew, and when I say the market in this sense, I mean the stock market already knew that the Fed was gonna cut rates. So the move in mortgage rates had already been priced in. So we had already seen in the weeks leading up to this, we had already seen mortgage rates come down. What we might see over the next couple of weeks is a lot of volatility in that as more info comes out about why the Fed cut. So we'll see where that goes.
Okay, thank you.
Here is the
Thank you.
Thank you, buttered chicken.
Awesome, thank you. So as a home buyer, does it make sense to wait this out a little bit longer to see if rates are coming down even further, or have we kind of already seen the lowest it's gonna be of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're probably at the lowest that we're gonna see for the year. Might see some moves up and down here and there. What I always tell people when I get that question is don't try to time the interest rate market. If the time is right for you to make a move, then that's the time you should do it. Interest rates, they fluctuate so much and they're all over the place that you can't really time it based on that. They could be high one week and low the next week. So you really want to make sure that you're doing it based on your timing and when it's going to be comfortable for you rather than trying to time the market in that sense.
That makes sense. So as a home buyer too, if you are ready to make the move, but the interest rate number is a little bit scary, what kind of options are there to kind of help somebody make that jump?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that we've seen in that sense over the last, call it 2 to 3 years, have been interest rate buy downs. And so what that looks like is where a seller oftentimes will pay money to buy your interest rate down. And there's a wide range as to what that can cost and what it looks like. But like in the new construction world, we see that all the time where builders are paying $30,000, $40,000 to buy an interest rate down. When I say buy the rate down, what that means is the market interest rate could be, let's call it today, 6 1/4. If a seller pays $40,000 to buy that rate down, you could get it down to 4 1/4.
Okay.
So now all of a sudden you've got a 4.25% interest rate rather than a 6.25. And so that's what we're seeing. And that's been a big thing that the builders are really doing to move their product.
I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah.
But, well, maybe, I don't really ever eat spicy food because it's just like so hot. That's spicy, but this is good.
That's really good.
Is it? So right now, are we in a buyer's or seller's market in Raleigh?
I would say we're in a it depends market.
Good answer.
Again, it's like neighborhood specific, right? If you want to live in the most high demand neighborhood, like let's take a Lockmere in Cary, yeah, it's still super high demand, stuff sells, you've got multiple offers. But if you live somewhere else that's not in such demand, or there's a lot of inventory of that type of product, then it's a completely different market, and things are sitting on the market for a long time. And so it really is an it depends market, and it depends on the house, the price, the location. So there's really nothing you can do to pinpoint it exactly. I would say generally speaking though, it's shifting towards a buyer's market right now.
Now, this was really good though. I don't think I've ever had. So where are home prices right now? Are they going up or are they going down?
Again, I hate to say it depends.
Sounds very like a politician.
Yeah, but it does. And what I would say is, again, generally speaking, in Wake County, the median sales price is actually 0% year over year. So we haven't gone down, we haven't gone up. We are completely flat for the year, which is a little rare in Wake County. Usually we're at least 2 to 3%. But then you look in certain pockets, and the pocket I think of the most is Cary. Prices in Cary are up 19% year over year. So you've got a whole county that's at 0%, and then you've got a little pocket in Cary that's up 19%. Then you go to a place like, let's take Fuquay. Fuquay was down like 5% year over year. So it's pocket specific, kind of like we talked about with what kind of market it is. Again, it depends on where you're at. Right now, Cary, totally still a seller's market. Other places on the outskirts of town, completely different environment. And I think in this world, you gotta have somebody knowledgeable enough to be able to explain that to you.
I know we've been talking a lot about buyers. From a seller standpoint, this is a very good question that they have. They want to know, but typically how long are homes staying on the market?
I think right now the average days on market in Lake County is about 74 days on market, which you compare it to COVID times when it was like 72 hours. Seems like a long time. It's just over a couple months. It's a pretty normal market. But 74 days sounds like a longer time, and as a seller, there's angst that comes with that, right? Again, pocket specific, Cary, a lot shorter time frame. Other places is gonna be a lot longer. So 74 being the average. I think one thing that maybe would be important to point out there is a lot of it depends on price and condition. We're seeing a lot of sellers go out and want to price their home like it is a competitive market. And when they do that, they're sitting on the market for a longer period. And then the other thing is the preparation and the condition of the home. Again, we're seeing people feel like, I don't really want to do anything to my house to get it ready for the market. Unfortunately, the reality is in today's world, when people are putting their down payment down, a lot of times that's the last of their available cash. So they're not in a place to go put new carpet in, to paint the house, whatever. And I'm not saying you gotta come in and put a brand new kitchen in as a seller, but you gotta have your house ready. You gotta have carpet ready, new paint, good curb appeal. All of those things matter in how long it stays on the market. This sounds safer from like a fire standpoint.
Oh yeah, is it really hot?
No.
With the mortgage rates going down, what does that do to the pool of buyers though on the other hand?
So I would say with like every half point movement in rates, the amount of buyers who come back to the market increases significantly. So right now we kind of just, our move recently was, let's call it from like 6.75 to 7% to now we're at like 6.25. So that opens up a huge range of buyers because we're talking about with that kind of movement on an average price home in Wake County around $500,000 or $600,000. With a half point, we're talking like $300 to $400 a month difference. So that's a big deal for a lot of people when it comes to qualifying for a loan, affordability, their lifestyle outside of owning a home. So as we move lower, that number is going to continue to increase, and that'll increase the pool of buyers coming back to the market. What'll be interesting to see is we still have a huge set of people who live in the homes that they bought in 2019, and they have a 2.75% interest rate. What are they gonna do, right? Because we see a lot of people who feel really comfortable in that payment, but maybe not so comfortable in the house.
Right.
And so what's gonna happen with that? Does that open up, is 5.5 enough to get the people with the 3% mortgage rate to move? And I think that's a question that we won't know until we get there. I don't think 6% is the number though. I don't think people get too excited from 3% to 6%, but the closer those get together, the more that'll open.
Yeah, and being someone who I wasn't down to 2.75, but we were at, I think, a 3.2 at one point. And the mortgage was great and loved the payment, but we just outgrew the house. So it was like, what you said, what do people do in the situation? Well, you cry about it for a long time and you say goodbye to the rates. You'll probably never see that again. But it's important enough to have to make that move because your family is growing or people are having things change. And there's options, like you said, if there is something like a buy down of the rate or if it's a refinance at a later date, there's things to kind of keep in mind that's like, hey, this isn't the finality of it, although it seems scary or it seems like just a lot more than what you're used to paying.
Totally, and like you said, I can love my payment all day long, but if I got too many, if I got too many kids in my house, there's nothing I could, I can't do anything about that. So that does play a role, and I think we've seen some of that already this year, where people are like, I don't care, I gotta move. But again, the closer those like 2021 rates get to, and again, I want people to be very clear, we are never ever getting to that number again.
That's what I was going to ask.
Unless things are really, really bad.
Yeah, which we don't want.
No, we don't want.
Great sounds good.
We want to be in the 5% range. That means everything is good in the world.
Okay, that's a good metric.
If we can get to there, I think we're all set. If we get back to that number, and I think there's still so many people in their head are like, I'm gonna wait for that.
Right.
And I just don't think when that happens, a lot of people who say that aren't going to be ready to jump because there's going to be something scary
going on. Yeah, exactly.
So I think people have to keep that in mind.
Now, this was really good though. I don't think I've ever had. Okay, so which one's this?
This is the Moroccan hummus. This is good.
Is it spicy though?
It's not crazy.
No? This is butter chicken.
No, the butter chicken was delicious.
And like because you helped us buy our last home, thank you very much. We were at like close to the pinnacle of the high interest rate. We came in at a 6.9, and again, like I said earlier, it makes you want to cry. We were able to refinance, which was awesome. It helped us out tremendously because, like you said, it sounds like it's just a few $100 a month, but that's extra groceries, it's things for the kids. Like
it's a big deal.
It goes a long way. And when we were ready to buy, I think the rates were kind of already getting there. We'd had an opportunity, or we discussed maybe building, and so we'd kind of put off. I don't know if you remember this, but we did photos of our home like January 2023, I think, and then. Like, oh no, actually, you know what, we're gonna buy. And so at the time, everything was kind of lining up, and then it just kind of fell through. And unfortunately, by that time, the rates were a lot higher. So it had caused a lot of tough conversations. But it all worked out well. We were able to find a home that we loved, that was right for our family, that was where we wanted to be. And now we're at the stage where we can kind of take a little bit more of a breath too, with having that refinance in place and saving some extra money. Well,
and I think again earlier we talked about timing the market. I don't want to put bad juju out there, but in 2023, we were still in the like 4% world. And then time comes around, but you guys had to make a move, right? Like you're adding to your family, like things were happening. There was no choice at that point. You can't plan your life around interest rates. And anybody that does, it's like, I'm sorry, just like, no, that's just not how the world works. And so unfortunately, that's just what happens. But like you said, you had an opportunity, you got to refinance, and you're in a better position now than you were 18 months ago because of it. And we're going to see more opportunities like that ahead.
Do we know what that is?
I don't know. It looks better than
I will say the presentation here is spot on. There you go.
All right, that's pretty damn good.
I don't know what's in it, but it's good. And it's crunchy. Talking about the future, 2026, if we have someone who's interested in buying, what would you kind of encourage them to do? Wait until we get more into 2026 or kind of start to jump the gun now? So
what I tell people all the time is like, so in the fall market, what we typically see is you're going to see less homes on the market. People don't want to sell their house during Thanksgiving, right? But the people who are on the market for a reason. So there's some motivation there, which is always good from a buyer standpoint. And so as a buyer, you have less to choose from, but you're also gonna have less competition, right? And so if you can go out and you can find the right house and it's the right payment for you and it's the right fit, I say go ahead, because that same house in the spring will likely be a different situation. There might be competition for it. There's going to be more buyers out because that's just how the real estate market cycle works from that perspective. Again, it's about finding the right timing for you, but I would not just delay for no reason. If you have a good reason, of course, but if your reason is I just want to wait till the spring, I would say go ahead and get started looking now. You might find the right fit for you. You might have less competition and you might get a better deal than you would on that same house in the spring.
Yeah, that's great advice. What are you excited about for 2026?
Well, I think what we're going to see in 2026, and I could be wrong, but I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a leg up from the market that we saw this year. In the spring of 25, the market was super hot coming out of the gate at the beginning of the year. And then the whole tariff thing happened in April, and that really kind of shut us down pretty much through the end of the year. You know, we've seen some pickups here and there along the way, but we did not get the spring market that we would normally get when the tariff announcement came out in April. So what I would expect in spring 2026, right? If we have rates continue to move downward, they stay there, then I would suspect that we're going to come out of the gate pretty hot early in 2026. And one nuance here in the Raleigh market that people are often confused by, up north, like spring doesn't start till like April, May, June. Here, it really starts in like February. So the market really starts to heat up in February, March, and April. So as a seller and a buyer, you got to get prepared for that and be thinking ahead. So if you're thinking of selling in 2026, start thinking about it now, because sometimes March is better than it is in May to sell. So those are some of the conversations that we'll have with folks over the next few months as we move into 2026.
We might become celebrities.
We will.
Why?
Why?
They might use it all over their social media.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
So that was all really helpful information. You definitely answered my questions, and I think a lot of questions that viewers have.
Yeah.
Seems complicated and kind of overwhelming. The way you broke it down makes total sense. So thanks for doing that today.
Good.
Everything was delicious.
It was amazing.
Really glad we came here. It's very different than what I'm used to eating. Like you said, you called me Miss Char Girl when we came in, which I will wear that proudly. But this was a very nice experience.
No, this was awesome.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, totally. This was so good.
Yeah. And today was awesome. We thoroughly enjoyed eating here. If you guys have any other recommendations of new places to try out in the Raleigh and Cary area, be sure to let us know. Oh my gosh, that food was so good.
That was amazing.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, did I answer all your questions
I
today?
think you did. Yes, actually very, very well. And I think it'll be really helpful for the viewers too.
Well, cool. Well, if this was helpful, like and subscribe. We give content like this all the time, and we don't want you to miss it.
Yep.
At Seaboard Station, and I'm excited. We're going to try a new place.
Yes. Hold on, we're just getting started.